welcome to another edition of Pitch BrandTalk. If you see the goodie tray right in front of me, it's got an amazing array of products which most of us love, be it Snickers, the almond version, which I think is specific to India, and if you're a child, obviously the Bumrah chewing gums, Twix, and the premium Galaxy. So you must have guessed the company by now. We're talking about Mars Wrigley India, and I have with me today Nikhil Rao. He's the CMO at Mars Wrigley India. Nikhil, hi.
Hi Simran, thanks for having me.
Nikhil, I just first of all want to start off with how's the year been? Now we're in April, the quarter been for Mars Wrigley India. What's been the growth like? And what's been your star product which has driven your growth?
Yeah, not just a year, but I think the last 5 years have been excellent for Mars in India. I think we have been growing from strength to strength. If I talk about numbers, we have been growing at a CAGR level in the mid-teens, so 13 to 15%, led by our key brands. So if you look at Snickers or Galaxy, they've been growing at high double digit. Bumrah too has been leading this growth. And if you look at this year, again, we have been having a very good quarter one. March was fantastic with very high double digit growth for brands like Snickers and Galaxy. And those have been driving our growth.
Now, I just want to step back to when Mars first launched in India, right? And you took, globally the positioning has always been snacking and hunger. And with the line, you're not you when you're hungry. And you used your global positioning. I remember, you had Rekha and Sonam Kapoor in your initial ads and the divas when they were hungry. But moving on, how have you used local insights and then kind of married it with your global positioning in your advertising?
No, you absolutely nailed it. I think Snickers, with its strong positioning on "you're not you when you're hungry," captures a very important insight on hunger. Hunger is possibly 20% of all need states when it comes to snacking. And Snickers has been able to have this very definitive positioning that helps it own hunger, at least among chocolates. In India, we have been able to take that insight locally, making it relevant for Indians, not just to the use of our local celebrities and adapting the tagline in Hindi is "Hunger achhe achhon badal deta hai," but also by looking at the right occasion. While in the West, some of the best ads on Snickers have been with relation to football or NFL, or you've had this famous one with Mr. Bean and the Ninjas. In India, we have brought occasions which are relevant to Indians. For example, Dhoni in the locker room when Captain Cool loses his cool when he's hungry. Or the recent one with Shetty, which shows a very disciplined, sedate driving instructor losing his cool when he's hungry and literally becoming Shetty. So it brought the insights which are relevant to India to drive this message strongly in India.
You've used a ton of celebrities. You mentioned Shetty, you mentioned MS Dhoni, couple of other cricketers also. You had Rekha, Sonam Kapoor, Urmila Matondkar. So what exactly do you look for when you sign on any celebrity for your products across the board?
On celebrities, yes, we are very clear that they have to fit the brand's persona and the brand's positioning. They have to be in sync with that. In Snickers, as you rightly mentioned, depending on the script, we look for the right character who's in the hangry mode or the version of someone when he's very hungry. And we have been able to select these celebrities very successfully. On Galaxy, which is about empowering women, which is about pleasure, which is about premiumizing the chocolate category, we have worked with Kiara Advani. In the past, we have worked with Arjun Rampal. Going to Bumrah, I think we have a very strong fit with Bumrah, both in terms of his persona and also parallelly both the lines is boom boom Bumrah and it's boom boom Bumrah. I think they are very, very synergistic that way. So I hope you'll agree that our brands, both in terms of positioning and persona, are a very strong fit with the celebrities that we choose.
So what's the challenge when you're marketing, because you're targeting multiple TGs, right? Bumrah would be to the younger TG, while a Galaxy is more premium, while Snickers is somewhere right in the middle. So what's the challenge when it comes to your marketing when you're targeting multiple segments at the same time with a variety of products? And it's also not like a child will not like a Galaxy, right?
Yeah, I think we're very focused on our choices. So as you mentioned, we focus on your Snickers, Galaxy and Bumrah. And they have the very well-defined TGs. So while Snickers talks to all youth across India, Galaxy, while it talks to lot of SECA consumers, it targets and is positioning women. They do bring in the choice of tablet chocolates into the household. With Boomer, we cannot target kids less than 13 years of age, so we usually target teenagers who are kind of the right go-to target. And even our media and the kind of content we create is tailored to these segments.
I just want to come back to Galaxy now, and this is a premium chocolate, right? And premiumization is a trend which we've seen across board, across sectors. So how has this worked out in terms of how much of premiumization and Galaxy has contributed in terms of your revenues? Because you also have a line of elevate ordinary moments, to extraordinary celebration. So how has this been a celebration for Mars Wrigley in India?
Yeah, Galaxy is relatively a new brand in India. We were importing it for the longest time, but we got serious with it when we set up manufacturing for it in our Pune plant in 2021. So since then, Galaxy has grown at very high double digits, and today is possibly about 20% of our turnover. So it scaled up really quickly. And in terms of the portfolio, the largest part is the core, which is the smooth milk chocolate with its various flavors. This constitutes the largest part. We also do play in dark with Galaxy Fusions. There's a very smooth 70% dark chocolate. And as you mentioned, the line was for Galaxy Jewels, which we launched last year. We focused on some festivals, Rakhi, Diwali, and Valentine's Day, which constitutes about 80% of all festive gifting in India. And we focus on certain channels. So between these three ranges, that completes the Galaxy portfolio in India.
Now, coming to your media mix, and where's the money going? Which channel do you see has been the most effective? Now we have three: Boomers, Galaxy, and Snickers. So which do you see is the most effective?
Yeah, in terms of our media choices, we follow what is the shape of the market. India was essentially a very strong TV market, but like all other markets, it's becoming digital day by day as we speak. So as we stand, about 50% of our media reach comes from TV. TV is still the strong backbone of media, both in terms of regular media buys and impact. We do go to TV. The other 50% is digital. We do a lot of collaboration with Google and with Meta, and we do a lot of their investment there. On the brands, yes, a brand like Galaxy or Snickers, which is targeted towards SECA, Gen Z and millennials, would be more digital, whereas Boomer, which is very, very distributed, it goes to 1.8 million outlets, would rely a bit more on TV to get that reach. 1.8 million, 18 lakh outlets. Boomer is the most distributed. SKU at 1 rupee, it travels a long way, both through direct and indirect distribution.
Can you give an example of how you're doing personalization at scale?
So in a way, we are targeting cohorts, or for example, in terms of Snickers, what are the right hunger moments? Hunger strikes at 4 p.m. One of the biggest cohorts of Snickers are people who go to the gym because they like the high protein content in Snickers. So we do customized content for these cohorts and these affinity groups or time of day, and target them, trying to increase the attribution of our media.
So it's not protein bars, it's Snickers for people who go to
Snickers has always been, for some reason, among chocolate bars, it has a very high protein content which comes from the peanuts, but it's always seen as a favorite among people who walk or go for marathons or gym, or people who go for hikes and expeditions.
We spoke a bit about localization earlier when you spoke about local insights, but one thing which Snickers has done a lot is localizations to the Indian palate and taste buds. I think recently you launched Snickers peanut brownie.
Yes.
You've also got into the good books of a lot of Indians thanks to eggless Snickers and almond, cashew butter, and even kesar pista. So how has this performed for you, these innovations targeting the Indian taste buds specifically?
Exactly. First, let's talk about the core, right? Core Snickers is about 80% of our sales, which is the good old brown Snickers, and we have different price points in that. And if you look at that, we spent a lot of effort trying to localize that to India. Firstly, the original Snickers recipe internationally has egg in it. We have replaced that with a vegetarian ingredient to make it as delicious and with the same texture. We have also made the Snickers chocolate melt at a higher temperature, so it is localized for the hot Indian temperatures. Yes, well, but it doesn't melt in the store; it melts in your mouth, and that's what we've done on the core to adapt it to the needs of India, the climate, and the vegetarian palate preferences in India. On terms of variants, which form the other 20% of our sales, we do experiment with that, and every variant does a different role. Almond, as you rightly mentioned, is the strong number two, where people who don't prefer peanut as a nut would go to almond. Almond has got premium connotations. It's got is seen as slightly better for mind and body. So some people prefer that. The other flavors are therefore giving that additional reach in terms of some people who don't prefer the plain variant, but they are a much smaller part of. We have Indianized it with Kesar Pista, as you mentioned. We launched peanut brownie, which I think is the best tasting thing because very chocolatey. It brings the best of the worlds of chocolate and bakery together. Snickers with the taste of brownie in it. So we've done it to reach to different segments of people and increase the penetration of Snickers.
You mentioned 18 lakhs. Bumrah is the most widely distributed products at 18 lakh stores. But how much of your revenue is now coming offline versus online? And particularly when you look at online, how has Q-commerce has been a godsend for all your categories particularly? How is that moving?
Yeah, see, typically in FMCG in India, you'd see like 85-90% would be traditional trade. Indian traditional trade is very strong, right? But we being a premium player and being a late entrant into the market, our strength is more in DCOM and e-commerce and in modern trade. So e-commerce would be about 10 to 15% of our sales, and modern trade would be about 20% of our sales. Traditional trade would be slightly lower in contribution than the other FMCG players. And within e-commerce, quick commerce is growing very fast, especially for snacking, especially for impulse. When you crave a chocolate at 4 o'clock or at midnight, you're not going to walk to that store to buy it. You're going to get it on Blinkit or Zepto or Swiggy and Instamart. And that would be, I would say, upwards of 60% of our e-commerce sales and growing very, very fast.
Yeah, impulse chocolate is an impulse category and nothing better than quick commerce when you do have that urge to have chocolates, right? Now, the other thing is also brand extensions. Can you just give me an example of how you're looking to extend your brand across the board and even probably tie-ups and collaboration with others?
Yeah, as I was alluding to earlier, I think the biggest focus for us is on the core because the core grows, that is real sustainable growth. And as we get into more households, into more mouths, that pays off multifold over the years, right? In terms of innovations, we do strategic innovations like on Galaxy, while the core is on milk chocolate, dark helps it get into a bit more of premium consumers, and jewels helps it get into the gifting occasions. It helps it get into more occasions, more consumers, more penetration. Flavors gives that change, as I mentioned on Snickers. In terms of collaborations, we haven't done many in India, but definitely you would have heard about lot that we do internationally.
Yes.
And there's like M&M's and Kate Spade, and there have been many of them.
That was why I wanted to ask, is there any hesitation in India why others are not? Because I had spoken to somebody also who from the Walt Disney Company, or even, they say there's still a lot of hesitation in India when it comes to, leveraging IPs or tying up. Is that also a reason, or do you see going ahead, you will be tying up with, say, a movie tomorrow or anything like that?
Definitely, we're not close to it. It's just that we are too new and possibly at the beginning of our journey. We're still establishing the core and establishing our brands, but totally open to collaborations with other brands and other licensing.
And also the role of technology, be it AI or any other technology, new marketing initiatives. How is it going? Is it only being used for content generation, or are you looking at it? Because we spoke about personalization.
Yeah.
Are you taking it the next step forward? Where all do you see this being applicable?
Yeah, I think in content, the use of AI and many other tools which use generative AI or partly use generative AI is in creating content at scale, right? Definitely very useful for digital media, especially when you're looking at addressable,
Sure.
personalized media, and also in decom, where you need to create those pictures the overnight. And if you're having a launch or if you're having a promotion, you're participating in a big event of a channel partner, you need to create those images quickly. So that is one use of AI.
But beyond that is what I was hoping you to.
Beyond that, yeah, again, not much in India. Mars is a company is treading very cautiously on the use of AI because there can be a lot of copyright and trademark issues. But globally, yes, you might have seen the Snickers collaboration with Jose Mourinho,
Sure.
where Jose comes in and advises you when you're out of sorts because of hunger.
Sure.
That's been quite quite a celebrated piece of creative. The other use of AI is in trying to make sense of large amounts of data.
Sure.
So we are piloting tools internally, which because we buy a lot of data, right, from Nielsen, from Kantar, our own internal data from brand tracks, data from household panels, and how do you make sense of it together? How do you get insights which are not within the buckets of these Excel sheets or databases, but can be plugged across, and AI can really help there. We're piloting tools right now on that, but nothing.
That's a challenge. That you use your data. What do you do? How do you make sense?
Yeah, that's
of
why
it?
AI can churn through a lot of data. You say, hey, these dots seem to connect. Does it make sense? And we're trying to work on that and trying
And
to
then probably that
connect
will
on
help
that.
your
Yeah,
media planning also.
it's more for garnering insights
Right.
and informing the
Sure.
decisions we make. But yes, at a very initial stage, not used widely.
So your star products, like we mentioned, are Galaxy, Bumrah, and Snickers. But what about the other products in your portfolio, global portfolio? Mars is very popular. M&Ms are very popular, well known in India. So currently, it's all being imported. Are you looking to expand these operations in India also for these brands like Mars, Bounty, Skittles, Double Mint?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest products that we have, and we do play opportunistically with them.
Sure.
We'll not yet start supporting them and treating them like a core focus brand. Mars, Bounty, Twix definitely are big, but they work in the niches. They do very well in top end, like standalone modern trade, in banner modern trade, in decom. They do extremely well there. They do very well in geographies. For example, South India, Gujarat seem to fancy Bounty. And yeah, definitely Mars also. Twix does well in the metros. In gum, we have Orbit, which is sugar-free, which does extremely well in chemist outlets, which does well with people who are trying to cut calories and don't want to take on calories when they try to have a gum after a meal or after a smoke, and does very well there. We have Double Mint, which is more into mints, chewy mints, and gum.
And Mars, as media statements have stated that Mars, you aim to double your business in India in the next 4 to 5 years. What's the roadmap for that?
That's the ambition of everyone in India, right? There's a 2030 plan. Everyone wants to double or triple. Yeah. I think in Mars, we are very clear. We are here for the long term. We want to invest in India. We already have 3 factories with Mars Wrigley, one in Pune, one in Bati, one in Bangalore. And we are investing in our brands, in our people, and in our factories. We want to have a stable base and grow at a sustainable pace. So that growth is being led by Snickers right now. We want to grow Snickers at double digits. We want to grow Galaxy. It's a smaller brand, younger brand. We want to grow it at high double digits. And Bumrah is like a very distributed brand. We want to use that to grow our company's penetration and distribution. So these are the 3 bases and ways in which we want to grow, but we're open to all opportunities. As I mentioned, we're playing opportunistically with some brands. We invest a lot into e-commerce, where our kind of consumers are. We invest a lot into modern trade, the top end of traditional trade.
Finally, as a marketer, what are your top 3 things say on your to-do list? As a marketer, this is purely as a marketer. What is on your list?
Now, I think the biggest thing is the world is always changing, right? So how are you and your team always learning? So how do we expose ourselves to people from the outside, definitely the Metas and the Googles of the world? Our creative agencies, DDB, our media agency, Essence Mediacom, do bring in a lot of the outside in. Just today we had a Shark Tank to discuss ideas which can be both driving growth and profitability. So things like that. One is, how do you keep the team always curious and always wanting to innovate? That would be the top of my list. The second thing is, It is a VUCA world, right? There's inflation, especially with cocoa. There's a lot of inflation. How do you keep getting efficient in what you're doing? It's very easy to splurge a lot of dollars, whether it's on media or on shooting a piece of content, but there are no extra marks for that. How do you do things efficiently? So being really prudent about how everyone is spending the money is something I'm trying to inculcate in the team. The tools for that, the tools for productivity, the tools for value leadership is something that we invest in. And finally, we are not here to create pure marketers. We are looking at general managers. Are marketers able to connect the dots between media, digital, creative, finance, supply chain, R&D, are able to see end to end is what is really important for me and my team.
Nikhil, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Sambha. It's lovely talking to you.